Hello and welcome to the first episode of M.A.D.E. Masterclass Podcast Live, where we empower and support men achieving their dreams in education. I'm your host, Kira Booker, and today we're having a powerful conversation specifically for Black and brown male students who are not only navigating college life, but are also preparing to become certified teachers. We're going to dive into how you can survive and thrive during your college years and how you can start laying the foundation for a successful career in education. We are joined today by, who do we have?
Dr. Richard Warren, Hazel Professor and Director of the Men of Color in Education Program.
And my name is Quentin Smith. I am a senior here, and I am the president of M.A.D.E. Men.
All right, guys, so I have a couple questions for you. So I want to start by talking about your overall college experience and how it shaped your journey. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced as a Black or brown male in college, and how did you navigate those challenges, both personally and academically?
I'll let you go first, since it's like, it's right there. You know, you're right here now.
Well, I would say personally, some of the struggles is our time management, if I'm being perfectly honest. When you are involved in school, when you're very involved in school and trying to juggle your academics, it can be difficult setting enough time for everything properly. Academically, I want to say maybe my biggest struggle was realizing my own full potential in the classroom, because I come from an area where there's not a lot of emphasis really put on young men in our classrooms, focusing on their academics. So I would say that was probably my biggest struggle, and just realizing that I can survive in a classroom. I can survive as a young educator, things like that.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. I don't know if mine was necessarily time management. Mine was just like life management. Like I'm trying to survive. Like I'm trying to figure out, how I'm going to wake up at a 7 and get to that 8 o'clock class, and then get lunch, and then figure out once the cafeteria is closed, like what I'm going to eat, and then like paying for books and just the life management of like finances. Because you're in college, I wasn't working at the time. And so just having extra money in my pocket if I want to eat later on, if I want to go to an event, it was really like I had to be frugal, had to learn how to pinch pennies, like had to eat ramen noodles. So it was just like, that whole experience, just trying to figure out how do I survive in an environment where I don't have the resources that I feel like I should have in this moment. I joke about this all the time, and I'll keep it a little short, but like when I first got to my college classes, the professors were talking and they were like, hey, you need to make sure you read this chapter in the book or whatever. And I waited till after class, and he was like, well, why are you still here? And I was like, well, aren't you going to give me the books? Like, I'm waiting for my book.
Right.
I thought, I'm first generation college student.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that the professors would give you the book.
Right.
I thought paying for college, you would get the book. So little things like that of like figuring out just how to navigate life in general and how to do things was like my biggest struggle.
Okay. A lot of the stuff you talked about I experienced this morning, so you're good. Right. Mm-hmm. And how have those experiences influenced the way you see yourself, not just as a student, but as a future educator?
Well, I would say for sure, it gives me the opportunity to give a lot more grace to my students in my classroom. Just coming to them like, I understand life can be crazy. Life can happen, and while I do have certain expectations for you, I can understand. I can give you a little extra support if needed.
Right.
Yeah, I think for me, it really makes you look at education in a holistic approach. Like I don't say you can't, but it's hard to teach well when your students are not well. And so just keeping in mind, like not only the academic side of a student growing and development and developing, but also the life side, the personal side. If they, one of the bottom bases of like being able to support a child is like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Kids have to feel, physiologically they have food, shelter, water, clothing. And so it's hard to teach a kid who's hungry. Like it's hard to teach a kid who's cold. And so just it helped me to have a better understanding. Like that my students are going to be similar to me in the aspect of I got to make sure that I take care of the whole child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I mean, a lot of people forget the personal side of college too. So I'm glad you said that. So my next question is, as college students, you've all had to develop strategies to succeed. So I want to talk about some of the approaches you've used to make it through, both in your general college experience and specifically as pre-service teachers. So what are 3 key strategies that helped you stay on track during your college years, both as a student and as someone preparing for a career in teaching?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So my strategy, one of the things that I really tried to do was like get my work done early.
Yeah.
And after my first semester, I try to organize my classes around just like my ebbs and flows. So I'm not a morning person.
Okay.
And so I wouldn't take morning classes. I knew that on Thursdays and Fridays, it was more social on campus. And so I tried not to plan a lot of heavy activities on Thursdays and Fridays. So most of my classes were on Mondays and Wednesdays towards the evening. And so that type of scheduling worked for me. Also, I surrounded myself with people who were going to lift me up and who were going to hold me accountable. And that was just the strategies that I used. And then I just asked for help. I stayed in my department. Even if it was just I'm coming by to say hi or checking in, I wanted them to know who I was, just in case life happened and I needed, some accommodations or, I can go in and get extra support or help. So I would say just organizing my schedule, putting people around me that can lift me up, and just getting to know the people in the department was a huge success for me and strategies that I used.
That's great.
I want to say we have very similar strategies. When I first was coming to UMES, it was very, very important to me that I had an established relationship with my administrators and my faculty, because I knew the struggles that I dealt with, and I wanted to make sure I was putting myself in the best possible position to be successful. So the summer of me coming here, I was emailing, what's his name? He was dean at the time, Dean Stevenson. He was a history major, so he was very excited to see such excitement from another student, who's interested in coming. Between him, I think I met you and Dr. Poole Sykes over the summer, and those were really helped. And when I got to campus and I got a job, I used my job hours as an RA when I was at the desk doing my homework. If there were others if we had a study group going, hey, I'm at the desk, let's go do this work together. Managing that time, using our time wisely, that was a big strategy I used. And finally, I don't like to do much in the morning either, so most of my classes are scheduled in the evening, so I can also go teach during the mornings.
Smart. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Same as you guys. I don't like the mornings. Okay. And then to follow up, so how can these strategies help other Black and brown male students who are juggling college and teacher preparation? I
can start there. I want to say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Your faculty, they get paid to help you. That's their number one job, to help you. So do not be afraid to reach out to them. Send emails all day and every day. I know I have quite a few teachers who will receive 6 or 7 emails from me in one day because I simply don't understand something. So do not be afraid to reach out to your teachers. And also, in class, your classmates are your friends. We are all in this together. Study groups are bomb. Study groups are amazing. It really helps you guys kind of gain the knowledge, the coursework that we're doing. It also just helps you build bonds and learn to work with all types of different people.
Yeah, I ditto to that. I think you should. Isolation breeds incubation. So when you silo yourself, all you have is yourself, and sometimes that is not the most efficient option for you. I would say, success on any level is preceded by supports on many levels. And so the more people you can get that's on your side, the more people you can get to hold yourself accountable. The accountability thing is so important. There's a lot of campus organizations that promote academic excellence. You can't even be a part of it if you're not. So if you find a sisterhood, a brotherhood, a group of people who are like-minded, I think that is really going to help you, especially if you're coming from disadvantaged backgrounds and this is your first time experience in college life. there's going to be a lot of play on your identity and your confidence level, right? You might not even feel like you can make it. You might feel like, I never learned this in high school. You might, it might be so many different things that you're dealing with. And if you're only to yourself, then you might resort back and be like, you know what, I can't do this. I'm just going to go home and work, right? I'm not going to be able to do this. But if you have other people who are in similar situations that you can connect with, and they're like, yo, I don't even know how to do it myself, but let's figure it out, right? Let's go get a tutor. I think those are strategies that can really help you along the way. And then also, just know yourself when you come into the space, as far as like if you're a morning person, like take time to unpack who you are before you come to college, or even like during college. I think those are successful strategies.
These are all very relatable things. As a Black and brown woman myself, I feel exactly the same way, especially with siloing yourself. You don't want to do that. So continuing on, I wanted to ask, were there any professors, mentors, or fellow students who really helped guide you during your time in college? And what role did they play in shaping your experience, especially as a future educator?
Well, I want to start with this. If I'm going to be honest, I initially did not want to be an educator. I thought it was something I wanted to do maybe part-time, just to kind of get my feet in the field, but I did not want to be an educator. Dr. Warren, Dr. Paul Sykes, Dr. Dean Stevenson. These were the people really at UMES who really encouraged me to become an educator. And then also, when I actually stepped foot in the classroom, just as a simple substitute, the students, I found myself making connections with them, and they were like, "We love you. We want you to stay here." And I worked in a middle school, and I'm very young. I'm 20 years old, and just for them to so naturally find themselves close to me at my age, it made me really feel like, oh, this is something I can do. This is something I can see the effect that I'm having on these students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a few gems, but I'll share like one or two. Coach Nelson, Dr. Patricia Gosley, specifically here at the university, were two individuals who were very instrumental. I, too, when I came to UMES, did not major in teacher education. In fact, I actually graduated with my degree in exercise science. Okay. But Coach Nelson, she used to have a program in the summer called NYSP. And students from all over would come in the summertime and learn about sports and do different assessments and things of that nature. And, one summer she said, "Hey, Richard, do you want to be a camp counselor?" And I was like, "Sure." She's like, "I'm getting paid." I'm like, "Shoot, I need any money that I can get, to get through next semester. I'm down with it." And so essentially I ended up being a camp counselor at NYSP. And one of my roles, she was like, "Richard, I want you to teach assessment, physical education and assessment." And I was like, you want me to do what? So yeah, I want you to teach this. And so I remember it like it's yesterday. The kids would come into the room. We were we were in Heights, in the weight room in Heights, the dance hall right next to it. And the kids would come in. I was just thinking in my head, like, how can I get these young kids engaged? So I would have music playing, and I would have these little chants. And before you know it, like, the kids were like listening, and they were anticipating it. So I think, just her putting me in that position and saying that I can do it, and always being a sounding board and guidance. I was the president of the Exercise Science Club, so she was my advisor. Mm-hmm. She just helped me to see that, that I can be Black, that I can be a man, and that I can make a difference in education and teaching. And so she was one of the gems here that really helped me. But I was already too far along on my degree. And I met Dr. Patricia Gosley, who was special education professor in the department. And she looked out for me a lot in terms of like putting me in schools, helping me with different scholarships, observing some of my lessons and things of that nature. And she just really kind of gave me the extra nudge that this was exactly where I needed to be. So specifically, those are my two gems at this university that helped me.
That's awesome. Yeah. And now that we've touched on your overall college experience, I want to focus on the specific journey you're on as pre-service teachers. So when did you first realize that teaching was your calling? How has your time in college and your teacher preparation program helped you confirm that path?
For me, I want to say, so it's had to have been in the last 2 years. It would have had to be November of 2023. At the time, I didn't think college was really for me. I had a lot going on at home, and I was reached out to by a couple of different students who were education majors. They were just checking on me. They could tell something was wrong. And then I got a call from Dr. Warren. Come out to Colorado, come meet Dr. Rashad Anderson. And the summit that we went to, it was so impactful. I really felt like his speech, it spoke to me and to my current situation. And in that moment, and the moment when we went to that elementary school and we did the little skit, in that moment I said, oh yeah, this is my calling. This is what I'm meant to do. Just the reactions of seeing young men and young ladies that look like me, their reaction of seeing me on stage, me leading them in whatever way I was, it was like, oh yeah, this is what I meant to do. And then we got to go on those rounds, and a culmination of those things really told me, yeah, it's my job to work with kids, work as an educator in the school system.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dr. Warren?
Well, I'm not a pre-service teacher anymore, but I will date back to when I was.
Okay.
I think it's similar. I think it's similar to you. You know, it's one of those things. I don't know, for a lot of black males, it might be this experience where the idea of teaching doesn't match the reality of how you can make a difference in teaching. So most people think about teaching, oh, the kids are going to be bad. Like, I can't deal with these kids. There's so much crazy stuff happening in schools. And, you know, and for most black males, they don't have the best experiences in schools, whether it was overly disciplined, disproportionately suspended, not seen in the curriculum. So the last place they want to return back is to the scene of their trauma,
exactly.
Right? And so I think the idea of saying, like, you can be a teacher is really far-fetched for a lot of us. And until you actually get into it and see, like, oh, I'm needed here. Oh, I'm really good at this. I don't think it's going to connect. And so for me, it took me to go into a classroom as a substitute teacher, long-term sub, and start teaching like I knew what I was doing. I had no idea what I was doing at first, but all I knew is that the kids, they wanted to be around me. They respected me. They wanted to come up during lunch. And the more and more I started teaching, I just started seeing pieces of my story in the kids that I was teaching. And it was in that moment when I realized that, you know, I say this all the time, the place that I was once sitting, I was now serving. And so I think that aha moment, when I got into it and started doing the work and had people around me saying that I was good at it, to affirm and confirm that this is where I need to be, I think that was my pivotal moment that really that shaped me into my future as an educator.
That's awesome. And this might be the last question we do today.
Okay.
But what were some of the steps you've taken during your college years to get a head start in your teaching career? Whether it's networking, internships, or classroom experience, what's been most valuable to you?
I would say for me, as a college student now, I'm an early college graduate, so I came to UME as a junior with 60 college credits, and as a substitute teacher, to be hired as a substitute teacher, you need 60 college credits. Mm-hmm. So I think the jump I had on time definitely helped me in preparing to be an educator. The real experience I'm getting in live action with the students definitely was a big thing for me. Also, networking with other education majors across different HBCUs or just different institutions has also really pushed me forward. Just collaborating on like ideas that we have, like lesson plan ideas, or even fun activities that we might do in our free time with our students.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me, since I was like a non-traditional alternative route, I think what really helped me get ahead in my teaching career was that I was a long-term substitute. Before I even went back to school to get certified as a teacher, that's a whole nother story in itself. Like, I was long-term subbing, and so I was literally flying the plane and putting gas in it at the same time. Mm-hmm. So like, I was learning how to teach as a long-term sub, which was really good because I didn't have the pressure of like assessments or observations. Like, that stuff didn't really matter because I'm not full time. So my job is not on the line. I'm a long-term sub. Right. And so I got a chance to really just explore and teach and try new things without any pressure. And so that gave me a head start. When I came back to school and I got my master's in teaching, it was like the stuff that they were talking about in class, I could make the connection because I was already doing it.
Right.
So it was like I had practice before I had theory. So I think that kind of gave me an advantage because then I can connect the theory to what I was actually doing, and it really helped me to get ahead. Versus, sometime in college you get off theory, but then when you get out there, it's like a whole different thing, and it can be like
how do you
really
implement?
Yeah, how do you implement? It could be a shock.
Right.
And so I think that really helped me get ahead. That classroom experience when I was a long-term sub helped me get ahead. And then just when I got certified, I joined the teachers union, and they had different professional developments and things like that really helped shape me outside of what I was getting with my school district.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Warren, and thank you, Quentin, for sharing your journeys and insights today. Your college experiences your experiences in college and both as students and future teachers are powerful examples of resilience, determination, and purpose. To all the Black and brown men out there preparing to become educators, remember, your journey matters, and the impact you'll have is going to be incredible. Stay tuned for more episodes of M.A.D.E Masterclass Podcast Live, where we continue empowering you to achieve your dreams in education. Until next time, keep pushing forward and keep making a difference. See you guys later.
Take care.